Yes, I do. Coach, how you doing?
Fantastic.
I guess just first of all, why was this move important for you, and how much of any hesitation, was there from a standpoint of stepping out and trying something different?
I've always wanted to coach and found the best opportunity. Coach Smart gave it to me and had to jump on it.
Okay, Seth Emerson.
Hey Scott, the the transition from obviously that a lot of people wondered about the transition to special teams coordinator. How much impact did you have? How much coaching did you do, and were you allowed to do at Alabama on special teams? And how is that translating? Has it been an easy transition, or has it been harder than you thought, or what?
I would say it's been challenging for sure, and that's kind of what I was looking for. When I first got into coaching, it was high school level, and I kind of fell in love with special teams, and strength and conditioning kind of came with it. So when I had the opportunity to do strength or special teams when I was a GA, I went with the strength side, and now I wanted to transition into special teams.
Next up, we'll go to Mike Griffith. Mike, do you have a question?
Yeah. Hello, Coach. Thanks for doing this. So, can you tell us some of the differences in the culture? I mean, obviously, you worked with Kirby before at Alabama, and much has been made about some similarities. But what are some differences you see in Coach Smart's staff and environment from what you saw at Alabama?
I mean, knowing Coach Smart since LSU days, and then obviously that time at Alabama, I think everything that he does, he has a process and has an organized plan for everything. The culture-wise, it's been fun just to get to know the players. Diving into the culture side, a lot of similarities for sure.
Mark Weiser. Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I want to ask you, with all the years you spent at Alabama, the success you had there, your thoughts on going back in October as a special teams coordinator for Georgia?
Just excited. I mean, how could you not be? Just having football alone is exciting, but going back there, I mean, every game is important. So when that time comes, it's going to be great.
Let's move to Chip Towers. Chip, do you have a question? Chip, unmute.
I hit the unmute thing. Happens all the time. Hi, Coach. I hit the unmute thing. I don't know what happened. Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. I'm curious to know, obviously, you're just a huge part of Alabama's success. They throw you up there on the Jumbotron there at big moments during games and that kind of thing. What has been the reaction there, kind of to the local community and fans? Did you get a lot of feedback? Because this is kind of like going from the Boston Red Sox to the Yankees or something.
So you want to know feedback from Georgia or from the other side? That's the
From
question.
from the Alabama side in particular.
I mean, it's so hard to even tell on that side because everyone that I knew and everyone that I was around were always, pro the players just like I was and pro my personal development. So I think this COVID, pandemic has kind of pushed my stuff away, which has been great. So I could really concentrate on being great at my current job. So I hope I answered your question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, we'll go to David Pascal.
Hey, Scott, if I could take you back to 2008, you were well known in Tuscaloosa, but you really became a household name in the SEC with your funeral comment. I was wondering what you remembered about that experience. Were you surprised just how you were splashed from coast to coast across the country? And I guess, have you had some playful ribbing on both sides since you took the Georgia job?
Well, the great thing about that is that no one remembers that's a player. No one even knows about it, so don't tell anybody. Help me out a little bit. I'm trying to gain the respect around here, so I was kind of keeping that on the DL right now. So in reality, I think it was one of those, in that moment, it was kind of make or break. I wasn't planning on it becoming, public at all, but at the same time, when it did, I was scared to death. I mean, I was 29 years old, I think. I mean, whoo! I thought I was going to lose my job.
Did Nick or Kirby say anything? Do you remember? I mean, because a lot of people look at that and go, wow, Scott, you just provided them bulletin board material.
That's exactly what everyone said. You know, like they didn't need motivation. You just gave it to them. I was like, yeah, thanks.
All right. Scott. Next up, we'll go to Jake Rowe. Jake, do you have a question?
Yeah, for sure. Coach, appreciate you doing this. Wanted to ask, from being a strength coach for so long, are there any different approaches that you take now that you're an on-field coach? Is there any difference, or do you just kind of keep doing it the same way?
For me, it's more of I have to really be specific with my time. So in the weight room, you didn't have as much time. Now I have time, I feel like, on the field, but I'm missing that hour in the weight room. So it's kind of a catch-22. But yes, for me, I feel like I have to be detailed, and I have to be very specific on my goals, on who I'm trying to reach, what players I'm trying to reach to do a better job, whether it be on kickoff or kick return. So it's very similar, but I feel like because of the weight room now, I have to be way more detailed and kind of planned on what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it.
Okay, next up, we'll go to Brandon Sudge or Jed May. Brandon or Jed?
Hey, Coach, thank you for doing this and everything. Kind of following up on the Open, can you kind of lay out for us a little bit more kind of the process of getting here? How long have you wanted to be on-field coach, and how did that kind of come together in terms of having the opportunity here?
It's one of those things that it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to get on the field, to see this side of it and to work this side. And when I had the opportunity, come on, Coach Smart's the best to do it, so let's go.
All right, we'll move to Jason Butt. Jason, do you have a question?
Yeah, Coach. Back when Kirby first took the job, there was some reports that he reached out to you. Was it a matter of getting an on-field coaching role that made you decide to finally make that transition out of Alabama?
I think everything happens for a reason. Timing is everything. And at the time, I felt like I was in a good place. And now I feel like I'm in a great place. So I think timing has everything to do with it. And for me, right now is the time. And I'm just excited about that opportunity.
All right, let's go to Zach Klein. Zach?
Hey, Coach, I assume bigger, faster, stronger are core philosophies when it comes to strength and conditioning. What are your philosophies in the special teams department?
Speed kills. Speed kills. If you're fast and physical, I'm going to find a spot. Don't have to be the smartest guy on the team. You just got to be fast and physical.
So if you run a 4-2, you can punt or kick off for you guys?
For sure, he'll be the punter. Yes. He'll definitely. If you run a 4-2, he'll be the first guy to punt. All right, now come on now. You're better than that, boss.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, next up, we'll move on to the red and black, William Newland. William, do you have a question?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask. Kirby Smart told us, kind of your initial chemistry with the team kind of came from your recruiting efforts. How involved were you in recruiting this summer, and what do you think you specifically bring to that process with Georgia's coaching stuff?
Recruiting's been crazy because I was expecting to get on the road. I was expecting to meet guys, and now everything's virtual. So that was a bit of a challenge because, I like face-to-face. I like to sit down. I like to talk it out. But I've been able to do it through the virtual side. And, look, everybody's got the same problems. But for me, I think what I bring is what I've always brought. I'm going to be real. There's no other way to put it. I'm going to tell them like it is and help them develop before they get here. And then once they get here, continue that process.
Okay, next we'll go to Vance Levy. Vance, do you have a question?
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Kirby pretty much described the last scrimmage as sloppy and threw the special teams in there as well. What was sloppy from a special team standpoint? And then on a little lighter note, did you participate in the Noon Basketball Association while at Bama?
No, I had to work during those times. So to answer the first one, no. I had to be with the players. And for the second one, yeah, I think it's the first scrimmage. You know, how many reps did you actually get at that position on kickoff return before we got to the scrimmage in a full setting? Obviously, we do a lot of reps, a lot of individual stuff, but that full setting. So I agree 100%. But, you know, we're coaches. This is what we do. Like, we're going to coach it until we can't get it wrong. I mean, it's just the way we do it. So for sure, and I'm sure this second scrimmage we're going to come out have hopefully a little bit better, but who knows? That's the whole point of it. That's why it's such a great game.
All right, we have a few more minutes left, so let's open it up for questions. Feel free to ask a question. If you do, please unmute your microphone. Any questions?
This is Mike Griffith. I wanted to follow up and ask you about some of the Georgia players. Obviously, you got the strength and conditioning background. I know you've been around a lot of great players at Alabama, but any guys at Georgia that just jump out at you as physical freaks that have really impressed you early on?
Oh, wow. You put me on the spot now. There's the O-line and D-line. I mean, you could list everyone on it. And then you go to the linebackers. I mean, if you want to get real specific, you know, it's hard not to see the size when you see them. To me, that's, you know, a big, you know, hats off to Coach Sinclair. He does a really good job. But to say specific names, I'm going to leave out so many. Come on now, don't do that to me. I'm trying to earn the trust of these guys. Help me out.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, you just mentioned Coach Sinclair. I guess that's a good segue. What are your thoughts on the way Georgia does things strength and conditioning wise and what you've seen since you've been there, since you were in that field for so long?
Played him twice, and he knows what he's doing. That's for sure. Very impressed by the way he handles top to bottom in the weight room. I mean, it's really – I mean, the stuff that I've seen has been awesome. So I'm a big fan of the stuff he does, for sure.
Scott, do you stay away from him? Do you leave that completely as his domain? Or, I mean, you have all these years of expertise. Is there anything you can do to help?
Sure. I mean, I will help any way he asks, but that is definitely – I got enough on my hands trying to be great at what I'm doing that, you know, trying to get Coach Smart's stuff right and try to make it the way he wants it. So I have enough to worry about, but he's asked questions for sure, you know, how to handle certain things, and I love it. So, I mean, if it's about helping the players, and that's what he's all about, I think it's a good transition that I don't have to worry about that side.
Coach, but assess your kicking game and your returns game, where you're at with that?
I missed that. Say that again. Sorry.
I think, could you kind of assess your kicking game and the returns game as it is right now?
I mean, if you're asking for specifics, we have a lot of competition going on. If you're asking for, you know, kind of help me out with the question. What kind of details you want, boss?
Well, what is the specifically place kicking situation? Do you see Jake Camarda being a real threat to possibly win that job right now? Is it just him and Jared Kirkle? And then your returns, who are your top guys for maybe punt and kickoff returns?
Which is what is great for us is that we have competition everywhere, from the deep snappers going at it. We got 3 guys attacking it every day to try to figure out who's going to be the guy. And then for kickoff, we have 3, 4 guys going at it, and Jake's in the mix. Pod Lindsay and Zirkle are doing really well in both field goals and kickoffs. And then the returners, you know, it's a lot of fun for me with the returners because you got Kearis Jackson back there who's done it before, and then you got Cook, and then you got Zamir. So you got a lot of cool little toys to play with. Do I really want them to return the ball, or do I want them running down on kickoff? Do I really want them to be on punt return, or do I want them to go take a guy on? So it's a lot of fun on that side of it. There's a lot of competition, though, which is so much. Just, you know, competition, everybody gets better, and that's great for us.
Scott, Nick Saban said that he thought that you one day would like to be a head coach. Is that part part of the reason why you're here now?
I think at the end of the day, you got to be great at the position you're in. And sure, aspirations are out there, but it's like I tell the players. It's like I told my son, who just had his first 7th, 8th grade game. He was like, my goal is to get a sack and this, that. I was like, okay, that's great. Or my goal is to get in the end zone. That's great. But how about dominate the man across from you? So my goal right now is really simple. I'm just going to try to be the best special teams coordinator I can be and be the best coach I can be to help the program.
Hey, Brandon, I think you had tried to start. Go ahead.
Coach, kind of a two-part question here, but first off, in terms of your energy, I know you've been asked probably this plenty of times, but have you kind of always been this energetic guy? Like I know you worked out at Alabama, but kind of earlier on, I mean,
I would say yes to that, but I think it's all about timing too. I don't think the one thing, and this is for me for recruiting too and for coaching, I just like to be real. Like if it's needed, I'm gonna do it. If we're out there and kind of dead moving, what a great way to set the tempo with special teams. Like we start every game, every half, like let's go. Are you kidding? Like, so have I always been that way? I think so.
And then the other part of the question I had, did you kind of have a moment, I guess, where you were able to see everything click in terms of you being here and making a move over here? Did you ever have a moment where you felt comfortable? Because you said that you're in a good place right now, so I was just asking.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a moment that made it click. I just think that it was time. Like, it was time for me to transition. And there was no time like the present. I mean, I hated the fact that right after, we had the pandemic. But at the same time, maybe I can, as I tell the players, use it to your advantage. It can be all negative, but everybody's got the same problem. So decide today that it's going to be to an advantage, which is near impossible to say with all the stuff going on. But,
Coach, when I was at Georgia, I got to be friends with some New Orleans boys, and they were all tough. They were all hard workers, and they all had a little bit of confidence about them. What is it down there that's what comes out of there?
Well, I don't know about them, but it's my mama and my daddy for sure, hands down. Dad was military and mom was a teacher, so that definitely ran in the family of being tough and having a good time being tough too.
Coach, in regards to doing something new and being that special teams guy, what's that first night of sleep going to be like? That night of sleep before the first game going to be like?
Come on, dog. Who's sleeping?
Hey, you got to
get rest. Can't sleep. Come on.
Just wanted to see if, obviously, do you expect there to be any nerves or anything?
Yes.
Just taking on something so different?
Yes, for sure. And I'm big on nerves. I'm big on controlling your nerves. I mean, I got to deal with, obviously dealing with specialists a lot, but I'm also dealing with freshmen. I'm dealing with guys that are coming from, all right, last year they were all special teams. Now they're starting on defense, and I only have them on one special team. So, man, that's just, shoot, I was nervous to walk in here and talk to y'all. Come on. Appreciate y'all making me feel comfortable, by the way. But I think nerves are part of it. I love it. Like, and then, what was it? John Bones Jones said, you get the butterflies. The key is to get them to fly in formation. Like, that's kind of if you're not nervous and anxious, I don't think it's important to you.
Coach, did you consult with anyone in particular this off season just to get the ins and outs of, preparing and practicing the special teams side of things, just being off the field for so long?
Yes. The list is endless. Obviously, I have great relationships with a lot of guys in the NFL from past times, just working with them. And then guys that have been the special teams coordinator where I was working at, When I first started, it was Michael Haywood. Then it was Derek Dooley. Then I learned from Bobby Williams. And then, obviously, Jeff Banks. But then on the outside of that, you got Joe Judge, who I talk to on a regular basis, and Basacci I talk to on a regular basis that are, I wore them out. And I still wear them out because I'm always trying to find the perfect drill. You know, you get X amount of time on the clock. What is the perfect drill to make you have success? And it's a one-on-one battle. Give me 6 seconds of play and let's go.
We have time for a few more. Anyone else?
Coach, this is Mike Griffith. I guess I got to ask you about the elephant in the room here. I mean, the bottom line is you're a proven coach, and you weren't able to get the opportunity at Alabama that Kirby's given you. Do you use that as motivation? Is that something you think about, that Nick Saban wasn't going to give you this chance?
I mean, you can use anything for motivation. To me, the question goes deeper. I think Coach Saban has my back. I worked for him for 18 years. If the position would have been open there, probably would have been a possibility. But for me, I want to work for Coach Smart. I want to work with somebody that I see eye to eye with on a lot of things. And I see the same with Coach Saban. Obviously, you know, I wouldn't be where I am without him. But with Coach Smart, I feel like there's a big emphasis on some things that I'm big on.
Time for 2 more questions. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Coach, for giving us a little bit of your time today. Thank you.
Dogs.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.